Following our victory in the Netherlands, it meant there was only 2 league titles left to attain, the Italian League and the Spanish League. But after resigning from Ajax, we were struggling to find another club. Only Levante in the Spanish League were available for us to go to. A couple of weeks later, and the only job to come up worth contemplating was the Atletico Bilbao job. However, they had a bank balance of 20 million and a remaining budget of 6.5 to spend on new players. We did apply for it though, because something is better than nothing. And in terms of job security, nobody was insecure. Everybody was stable in their current roles. However, it was a World Cup year, and I was hoping that some managers might move on as international jobs become available. A month after resigning from Ajax, and we were still without a job, and Atletico Bilbao had not made their mind up whether to invite us for an interview. The Empoli job had also become available, but given they only had 3 million in the bank, wasn't really a team I was keen to go to. Bilbao finally invited me in for an interview on the 27th of June, and I of course told them everything they wanted to hear. Bilbao finally came in with that job offer, but I wanted to hang on in case anything else came up, particularly with the World Cup drawing to a close. And then the AS Roma job became available. However, looking at their bank balance, they're 109 million in the red, with absolutely nothing to spend on new players. But then, in a strange twist of event, Tite, who was managing Fiorentina, went to my old club, Sporting Lisbon, which left me an opportunity to become the Fiorentina manager, which I decided to take. Okay, it's not the best club in Italy, but it's an Italian club that I feel like we might be able to do something with. We'll see how it goes. We'll give it a season. We're on the 16th of August. I kept delaying the Bilbao job, and in the end, I just turned it down because I didn't really want to go there. I didn't think I'd be able to do anything with them. I thought it'd just be a waste. I thought I might as well just sit out the season, really. I know I said something's better than nothing, but if I'd have taken the Bilbao job and then this Fiorentina job had come up, I'd have probably been kicking myself. So I'm glad I turned it down, and I'm glad I waited for something else to come up. And Fiorentina are not the biggest club in Italy. We're not going to go win the title in season 1, I don't think. But there's an opportunity for us to maybe get the Coppa Italia within 2 seasons. I've only got the Italian League and the Spanish League left to win, and then obviously we've got to go back to England for the FA Cup. We've got to try and get the Conference League at some point. And what is frustrating is that Fiorentina just missed out on qualifying for the Conference League. They went into the Europa League. Roma, whose job did become available, are in the Conference League. If I'd have known, I'd have probably applied for the Roma job despite them being £108 million in debt. I think they had a good enough squad to possibly win the Conference League, and that would have ticked that off. But I didn't look, and I didn't realise until I joined Fiorentina that it was Roma that was in the Conference League. So kicking myself a little bit with that, but it is what it is. So we've got the Conference League, we've got the FA Cup to try and win, probably after Fiorentina. I mean, the chances are, as Fiorentina, we could finish 7th and maybe qualify for the Conference League next season, build a team that could potentially challenge for that. But we'll see how it goes. There's no rush. We've got 7 seasons complete. So we've got another 8 seasons left to do, where I've got a little bit of time on my hands. I think we've overachieved in the first 7 seasons, but now it's going to become a little bit difficult, I think, to find a team that's in the Conference League that could potentially win it, and to try and go back to England at some point, win the FA Cup. I've also got to try and wait for a Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid in Spain. I've got to wait for one of those 3. Bit pointless going to any other club. So I've got to wait for that opportunity to arise at one of those 3 clubs. And here in Italy, I feel like it's got to be an Inter Milan, an AC Milan, or a Juventus. Maybe a Napoli or a Lazio. I don't think I'm going to win it with Fiorentina, even in 2 seasons. The squad, it's not the best. It's okay, but it's not going to go win me this Serie A, and it's huge. Look how many players are in this squad. It is absolutely huge. So I've got a 2-week window to try and go do something. In terms of finance, it's 4 million in the bank, 7 million transfer budget, so it's not going to go do as much unless we get rid of some players. And there is a number of players that we do need to try and get off the books. Alexander Mitrovic picking up £76,000 a week. Tony Martinez picking up £76,000 a week. High earners here at Fiorentina, both of an age where I don't like players over 30 normally. I try and ship them off. So, yeah, I'll go do what I need to do for this next 2 weeks. Be a busy 2 weeks. And then I'll come back in after the transfer window's closed, show you what we've been able to do, if anything. Okay, we managed to do a little bit. So we've got rid of these players up and didn't really generate much money. And we've signed these 3 players here. So we managed to get this lad in on loan. He's a centre-back. Wellington's a centre midfielder. And Bacchetti is also a centre-back, I think. So that it's kind of improved his defence a little bit by bringing these 2 in. Wellington's a decent centre midfielder as well. You might be wondering how I've done it with the finances. Well, I've done what most of us do when we've got no money. I've stretched it out over multiple years. So I've paid in instalments for a lot of these, well, for these 2. And I managed to get some money up front from a couple of deals here. So, yeah, we've managed to do a little bit. The squad is still huge, though. I really, really tried moving some players on, but I just couldn't find any takers. Couldn't find any takers at all. So, it's a massive squad. So, let's see how we're going to do in the Italian Serie A with a makeshift team. We kicked off our Serie A campaign with a home tie against Torino. However, on 21 minutes, the away team took the lead and we didn't get off to the best of starts in Italy. However, just 5 minutes into the second half, and Mats Weifer put the ball past the Torinian goalkeeper, and it was 1-1. That's how the score finished, and I have to say I was a little bit disappointed we didn't get the win. A goalless draw in Udinese followed, but in the third game we got our first win of the season with a 2-1 victory over Atalanta. We then travelled to Empoli, who were a team that I nearly went to manage, and they took the lead after just 7 minutes. However, on the 28th minute, we made it 1-1 when our new signing Wellington scored a lovely header. And 2 minutes into stoppage time of the first half, we made it 2-1 when Mandragora broke through and smashed it into the bottom corner. However, Empoli made it 2-2 on the hour mark when we gave Arizabal too much space down the right-hand side and he pulled it back to Taraz. And from the next 3 games, we won 2 and drew 1. So after 7 Serie A games, we're still undefeated. However, it was our first big test of the season when we were facing AC Milan at the San Siro. It was our kick-off, and straight from the kick-off, we managed to play some nice little football around and break through to take the lead after just 25 seconds. New boy Wellington on the score sheet once more. However, Milan made it 1-1 when Jimenez were given too much time and space to play his way through our defence and smash it past Labrovic. And on 55 minutes, our pressing game played into our hands. Beltram put a fine finish past Ederson. It was soon 2-2 though when Jan rose higher than anyone at the back post and headed it past Labrovic. And in the 90th minute, Milan got the winner with a lovely strike from Goizeta. It gave them a 3-2 win and condemned us to our first defeat of the season. However, we won our next 3 games in a row, including a 3-2 victory over Juventus and a 2-0 victory over Lazio. An away draw to Hellas Verona followed, with Thomas Handel getting the equaliser in the 91st minute. There were 2 more back-to-back 3-0 victories against Lazio and Como, and then a disappointing 1-0 defeat away at Bologna with Carlos Augusto getting an own goal. And then from the next 3 fixtures, we only got 1 win, which was a 1-0 away victory at Roma, which was, to be fair, fairly impressive. However, home draws against Sassuolo and Genoa were a little bit disappointing. Despite only 2 defeats, we have drawn 7 and it has left us in 6th place in Serie A. Okay, I mean, 6th place isn't bad. 2 defeats isn't bad. We're doing okay. I don't think we should have lost the game against Bologna. It was an own goal. And I think some of the draws that we've had, we should have turned them into victories. So I'm a little bit disappointed from that perspective. But if you'd have asked me at the start of the season, I'd have probably taken this. 6th place, 2 defeats. It's not bad for the halfway point. So this is the team sorted by average rating. And I think the player who stood out the most for me is Wellington. Sotil's done really well, don't get me wrong, he's been fabulous. But Wellington's come in, he's a regen, obviously, but he's come in into our centre midfield and just really bolstered it up. Really, really good player. He's been very key to nearly everything that we've done, and you've seen that he's scored a couple of goals in the highlights that I've shown you. Sepp van den Berg is a very good centre-back. He's done really well so far this season as well. And Raphael Kopfler. Notable players that you're probably familiar with. Sofyan Amrabat, he's still here. He's still making regular appearances for us this season as our DM. So he was on loan at Manchester United in real life last season for any Man United fans that are watching. And you've got Alexander Mitrovic down here, who is infamous in the Premier League through his time at Fulham and Newcastle. However, he's not really played for me. Like I said at the start, old man, big wages, somebody I've been trying to move on, but it's just not happened. Lucas Beltran, I think, has probably been the biggest disappointment. He's on high wages, £105,000, 29 years old now, so should be in his prime, really, in Serie A. But he's not really done much. 6.69 average rating is a little bit disappointing. I'm not really bothered about showing you the Europa League because we've already won that in this Glory Hunter Challenge. But for anyone that's interested, there is results so far. We've won 3, drawn 2, lost 1. Disappointing to lose at home to Feyenoord. But it is what it is. I feel like we've had a fairly easy fixture list for the Europa League, if I'm honest. And we should do okay in the competition, but I don't really care about it. The Coppa Italia starts this month, January, and I'm really going to try and prioritise that over anything else because I think that's where the strongest chance lies to win any silverware with Fiorentina in this first season. So I'm going to go play around in the January transfer window. I will play some fixtures, obviously, and I'll come back in around about February time, show you how we've done, and hopefully we'll have made some signings to improve this team. Okay, we're back and we've managed to do some significant business. So I'm going to start with the outs, and these are sorted by fees at the minute. So Nanasi has gone £31 million. Beltran, I said, was a bit of a disappointment. I've managed to get £25 million for him. He's gone out to Saudi Arabia. Mats Vifer, £11.5 million, has gone to Feyenoord. He was okay, but I feel like we've managed to improve on that. Iconi's gone to Nice, £8 million, and Tony Martinez, I managed to get £8 million for him. He's gone to Valencia. Saidu has gone out to Saudi Arabia for 6, possibly rising to 7.75. He'd already gone. Koffler has gone Sampdoria for 2.5, potentially rising to 2.6. And this guy's gone 2 million, possibly rising to 2.5. This guy's gone, Contigliano, Udinese, 1.7, potentially rising to 2. Granzotti's gone, 1 million, another one there for 1 million, one there for 875. Lots of players have gone for small fees that I've managed to just reduce the size of the squad. Finally found some takers for some of these players. Mitrovic, Fenerbahce, I let him go for nothing. I just transfer listed him for 0, offered him out for 0. Fenerbahce have taken him on. Cortez has gone out on loan. A few more there. Moha on loan. This fella's gone on loan as well. So in terms of bringing players in, Inacio, 18 million. Most of you know who he is a renowned centre-back on this game. He's transfer listed at Newcastle for 18 million, so I've managed to pick him up. Piccolo has come in, 11 million. Laporto, 9.25, potentially rising to 11. I've loaned this guy from Ajax. He's a player I had at Ajax last season. Really liked him, so we managed to get him in. Samba Sarr, 3.5 million, has come in from RC Lens. Graziano, 32 million from Napoli. He looks exceptionally good. Can play on either wing, both footed. Has all the attributes that I'm looking for in a winger, apart from his 5'2". But we can cope with that. We can live with that. We've got Giranville in, another winger, and Bizzarri from Roma for 15, potentially rising to 15.25. We've stretched the deals out again with the instalments, but it's given us a fairly decent squad. It's a lot lighter than what it was, but it's got players in the right positions. I've got 4 good centre-backs now in Vandenberg, Picardo, Bacchetti and Inacio. Really pleased with that area. And then the full-backs are doing okay at the minute, and I'm just really pleased with the squad now. It looks like a Bobbybarks squad. So I'm chuffed with what we've been able to do in January. We've done a lot in a short space of time, which will hopefully give us a bit of an advantage for the second half of the season. We are on the 9th of Feb, because I forgot to save it, but we've just lost 3 games in a row, which is not great. We did win the first 2 games in January against Udinese and Torino, but then we've lost to Atlanta, home to Empoli we've lost, and away to Spezia we've lost. Despite me doing really good work in the January transfer window, it's not really got into practice just yet. It's been a disappointing few weeks, I have to say. Coppa Italia, though, we are through to the semi-final and we're playing Brianza in the semi-final. So we beat Genoa 3-0 with a home tie, and then we're at home to Roma in the quarter-final, who we beat 4-1. And we've now got a non-Serie A team in the semi-final. So we should get through to the final, which will give us a good opportunity. It is going to be AC Milan or Juventus in the final, which is going to be hard, but one-off game. We are through to the knockout rounds of the Europa League, if anyone is interested, and we're playing FC and Midtjylland in that round. So, we've made good in the transfer window. We've done poor in the league in the last 3 games, but we're still in the Coppa Italia with a very strong chance of getting through to the final. So, let's go see how we've managed to do the second half of the season. Following those 3 defeats in a row, we did finally find a victory with a 4-1 win over Frosinone. Next up was a trip to Sampdoria. I don't quite know what was going on, but our defensive play was absolutely appalling from one stage to the next, and eventually Isaka put the ball in the back of the net on 16 minutes. However, on the 20th minute mark, we did find a way back into it when Giranville's shot was deflected past Odero. I'm not quite sure what happened in the 55th minute, but Sampdoria were awarded a penalty after somebody fell over in the box. And from the resulting spot kick, Sampdoria went 2-1 up. But Giranville got on the score sheet again with a fairly tame effort that beat everybody and found its way into the bottom corner. However, in the 94th minute, it was the home side that grabbed all 3 points when Montevago headed home. It was a bitter pill to swallow. Our next 2 fixtures were against AC Milan and Juventus, with the first one resulting in a 1-1 draw. But a 93rd minute winner from Matthias Sule gave Juventus all 3 points. And whilst we managed to get a 3-0 comfortable victory over Salernitana, it followed a 4-1 defeat at Inter Milan and a 3-1 defeat at Lazio. Our next match was a home tie against Hellas Verona, and when Suslov lost possession of the ball, he decided to scissor tackle Piccolo, and he saw a straight red. And on the 23rd minute, we were awarded a penalty that Amrabat couldn't convert. It was 0-0 at half-time, and I gave the boys what for, considering we were playing against 10 men, and it seemed to do the job, because within a minute of the second half, Mandragora had made it 1-0. And in the 56th minute, the score was doubled when Miyagawa put the ball past Christensen with a fine finish. And Sottil had been one of our most consistent performers this season, and he headed home at the back post to make it 3. It was finally a decent performance and a result, but it was against 10 men. And we got our first real thumping of the season away at Napoli. Wellington was sent off in the 46th minute. Napoli went on to score 3 goals while we were down to 10 men, winning 4-0 overall. The next 4 games, though, saw us go without defeat when we beat Como 3-0, Bologna 3-0, an away draw 1-1 at Sassuolo, and a 1-0 home victory over Roma. It saw us in 6th place in the Serie A with 2 games remaining. The semi-final of the Coppa Italia was closer than I'd like to imagine, with a 2-1 victory over Brianza at home when Goncalo Inacio scored an 89th minute winner. And we managed to repeat the score away from home and sneak our way through to the final, a 4-2 aggregate victory. It meant we'd be playing AC Milan in the Coppa Italia final. We'd not done too bad against Milan in Serie A, narrowly losing 3-2 away from home and drawing 1-1 at home. So with this being a one-off game, there was every chance that we could get the victory. But on 17 minutes, our defence didn't do their job yet again, and Nico headed home from a Milan free kick. Half-time had come and gone, and we were trying to pile on the pressure to get the equaliser, but the ball just wouldn't go in the back of the net, hitting the post on several occasions. And yet again, on the 73rd minute, our defence were just nowhere to be seen, and Tuchemeni put the ball past Labrovic. It was 2-0 to Milan. And as the game started drawing to an end and we entered stoppage time, Jan drove through the centre of midfield, and between him and Scavoni down the left-hand side, they combined really well and gave Milan a 3-0 victory and put their name on the Coppa Italia title. I mean, the whole season is just kind of the worst possible outcome. We didn't win anything, and we didn't even qualify for the Conference League. We've qualified for the Europa League again. So yeah. Is that the first time I've not won anything in the Glory Hunt to Save? I think that's the first season we've had where I've not won anything. And like I said to you at the start of the video, it's going to start getting harder and harder now to find the teams that can give us the trophies that we're still outstanding. So at the start, it's easy to kind of move around and find the right teams. So this is a squad sort of by average rating, and I feel like the signings that we made in January were pretty good. Inacio's a good centre-back. Duranville is a very good winger. And, I don't know, Miyagawa was pretty good for us at Ajax. He's done really well here, 7 in 12. Luperto was a guy that I picked up from Inter Milan. He's got 8 in 13. You know, they're all players that are good, that have improved us. And we got rid of some of the dross. But for whatever reason, the second half of the season was just appalling. Defensively, we were shocking. So these are the Serie A fixtures. And as you can see, the first half of the season weren't too bad. There were just them 2 defeats away at Milan and away at Bologna. But then second half of the season was just appalling. All right, and it might be the way the fixtures were. You know, we were away to some decent teams. Atalanta are a decent team, decent Italian side. These 2 defeats here shouldn't have happened. They should be wins for us. Away to Sampdoria, shouldn't be losing that really. But away to Juventus, yeah, I can take. Away to Inter, away to Lazio, away to Napoli. I guess the games that we could lose given who we are and the team that we've got. But I don't know, it just felt like we'd improved the squad and gone backwards. And if you're interested in the Europa League, we went out in the round of 16 to Valencia. So we drew at home and then they beat us 3-2. So, looking at this, we can't go back to Tottenham, which is gutting, given how good that team is to try and win the FA Cup. However, Pep Guardiola, who's the Inter Milan manager, is insecure, and they're rich. That would be a good avenue for us to explore. Other than that, the only other teams that have got insecure managers is Sporting, ironically, and Schalke. Real San Sebastian are a bad shout, but I feel like that's similar to Atletico Bilbao. It's not really a team I should go to. Are they going to be in the Conference League? Probably not. It looks like it's going to be Villarreal. Well, there could be. There's a game left to play. We might just have to see how that pans out. If they get in the Conference League, I might entertain that. But Inter Milan, if we can get that job, that will give us a very strong chance of winning the Serie A and the Coppa Italia. And so, rather surprisingly, there is nothing to add to the Bobbybarks trophy cabinet after season 8. So we have a big decision to make in the off-season about whether we stay here or whether we try and find an opportunity elsewhere that can help us challenge for some of these trophies still outstanding.